Welcome to NFR Podcast Top 10 Features of 2021, and we've been doing all these end of the year lists so far. Last week we did 10 biggest moments of 2021 in rap, so this week it's only fitting to go into our favorite features of the year. Guys, let us know in the comment section what your favorite feature of the year is, and Lou and I are going to be giving our own lists this time, and if you guys have been keeping up with us, we're going to be doing a major award show by the end of the year on December 29th. We're going to be doing a live stream for our own award show, so Song of the Year, Album of the Year, and a bunch of other stuff. So tune in if you have not already. Lou, let me forward this to you, man. What makes a great feature for you, and how do you feel about the feature game coming into 2021 and possibly seeing another one, transpire just like this in 2022?
Yeah, the feature run has been strong this year. And by the way, guys, subscribe if you have not already, because we're doing end of the year content like this on the weekly leading up to our awards show, including top 10 songs of the year, top 10 albums of the year, and so much more. But going on the features, this is super exciting because a lot of artists like Lil Baby, Lil Wayne, for example, had amazing feature runs this year. And what I'm looking for is for someone to kind of, I would say, change the pace of the song and add something refreshing to it. And it's been solid this year. So the way this is going to work is that we have our own top 10 list, and we're going to go by number 10 to number 8, reveal those, and then talk about them then from number 7 to number 5, 4 to number 2, and then finally our number 1 pick.
Absolutely. So guys, listen, as I said at the beginning, let me know what your favorite feature is, but are you ready, man? Let's get into this.
Let's do it.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with mine. You let me know which ones we have in common. Number 10, I have Lil Baby with Wants and Needs on Scary Hours 2. Number 9, I have Fivio Foreign on Off the Grid on Donda. And then at number 8, I have Kanye on Pay for Haiti on the Intimidated EP. So give me your 10 to 8, man. Let me see what you have.
By the way, guys, we went in this blind, not knowing what each other's lists were, and there's already a lot of similarities. So at number 10, Lil Baby on Wants and Needs.
Okay.
Number 9, Drake on Seeing Green. Number 8, Kanye on Pay for Haiti.
All right, let's do this. Okay, so let's start off with Wants and Needs by Lil Baby. What makes this feature so special? And I think I'm going to start off like this. I think it's the way he starts off this verse and the energy he comes in with. He absolutely washed Drake on this. So for you, what made it crack your top 10 list this year?
It's like he's running a vocal marathon, because as his feature progresses, he starts speeding up his flow and rapping faster and faster, and that was fucking exhilarating to listen to. Not only that, but he always starts off with like the hottest opening lines. Like his first line in this song is, "I'm from the 4, but I love me a threesome." Like that's the first thing that he spits, and he's known to do that, to have these opening lines that really draw you into the performance. And apart from that, to me, maybe if you're not including Fivio in that kind of category, this to me is probably the best trap performance of the entire year, just because of the flow switches. I think he has 4 different ones on this song, and also the mixing, the way that his vocals are mixed with the beat, with those hard 808s, it just made for a great experience. And like you said, he got the best out of Drake, which is kind of rare.
He did get the best out of Drake. But you know what was really impressive for me was the breath control on this, because as you were saying, he was going super quick, but there wasn't a time where he was slipping up or where he mispronounced a syllable. Like he was just going at it. It was in super good control. But let's go on to our number 9 picks. You have Seeing Green. Explain that to me. This was one I was considering, maybe in my honorable mentions, but why did this crack your list for you?
Yeah, every time that Drake gets into this lyrical bag, it's my favorite type of Drake, and a verse like I got on Seeing Green is exactly what I wanted to hear on Certified Lover Boy, and I didn't really get that. And of course, this is the reunion of YMCMB, of the classic trio. It's their 7th collaboration between Nicki, Lil Wayne, and Drake, and to me, Drake does have the best verse here. I think Wayne comes super close, but I just love the fact that, he gives you a little warm-up where he's like, you're now tuning into the biggest ever. Like, I feel like the braggadocious Drake sometimes is overbearing, but this time, all the flexing was done so adequately, and there's so much charm to a point that you can't not root for him as he's going through all of the success that he's had and how he's the biggest in the game right now. And apart from that, I mean, you get some of Drake's best punchlines in a long time, and it's rare for him to spit bars like trying to run a country like Putin one day, but who's Russian? Like that double entendre on the Russian. I love seeing Drake get into that very lyrical bag, and this was kind of a very lyrical offering from him, so I was pleased.
Absolutely. But let's move on to my number 9 pick, and this is Fivio Foreign on Off the Grid. A lot of you guys probably had this higher on your list, but I don't know. I was debating where I know you do. I was thinking about it. Should I put this in the higher end and the lower end? But I don't know. At the end of the day, I did my list, and this ended up getting my number 9 position. And I think it's because of the element of surprise that this feature brought to me. I mean, when we were going through the whole motion of the listening parties, and I think this was on the second one, I really didn't expect this. listen, I've said this many times on the podcast that Fivio Foreign probably had the biggest surprise for me out of the year. Also, I mean, it's like has like a runtime of 1 minute and 45 seconds. It's absolutely stupid. He does not stop rapping. Just like Lil Baby on my number 10 position. The breath control was absolutely fantastic because there's times where you think he's going to stop in his verse, but he just keeps going. Plus, I love the type of knowledge he's spitting on here. Example, listen to this. If you got a voice, then you got to protect it. If you got it wrong, then you got to correct it. If you got a name, then you got to protect it. I'm sorry, if you got it wrong, then you got to correct it. I love the way that he's coming in here and he's kind of showing you the way that he was able to make it to the top because Fivio Foreign, it's not that long that he's been popped off on the scene. So for him to have that sort of placement on Donda, where it's one of the most memorable features of the year, was massive for me. I'm a super big fan, but
if someone told you Fivio Foreign had the best performance in all of Donda, what would you tell them? If someone brought up that argument,
no, I don't think it is.
I think you could maybe make the argument in terms of energy, because if you're basing it solely on lyricism, then he's out of the race there. But if you're talking about just energy and performance, I'm not saying I think it's the best, but the argument could kind of be made.
The energy was definitely there. But let's move on to our number 8 picks, and it's Matt Kanye on Pay for Haiti. Dude, this is crazy. This is one of the nicest performances of the year. By the way,
guys, this is coming off of Kaytranada's new EP, which is called Intimidated. 3 fantastic songs in there, including one with her, one with Matt Kanye, and one with Thundercat. And speaking on Pay for Haiti, I love the play on words. He went from Pray for Haiti, which was his album, super underrated album, and now he names this song Pay for Haiti. And to me, any soundscape from Kaytranada is going to be amazing. He always has kind of that club-friendly sound, and to hear Matt Kanye on an instrumental that's kind of more laid back, that has these dance pop vibes, it's kind of a new thing for me. I've never really heard him on this kind of production, so it was super refreshing, and I love how he transitions from rapping in Creole, which is actually a French dialect, to rapping a verse in English. I think that it's a huge flex to be able to rap in multiple languages on the same song
and make it sound so seamless too. That's what was crazy, is that he's gonna end up transitioning his verse into English towards the end, but even the singings in Creole, the way that he was delivering his verse as well was super calm, but it was almost vicious in a way, because Matt Kanye has that sort of like that super smooth but vicious tone to him, where everything is getting pronounced to a T, and then it's the same thing where there's no breaks in his verse. Like, it's perfect transition to singing and harmonizing back to rapping. So taking that into consideration, I definitely think that it's one of the most diverse features of the year from a rapper. Plus, I love what Matt Kanye does when he's getting out of his element, because, if you're looking at something from, Pray for Haiti, none of these types of productions were on that album. But this was something where I wanted to see him strive. He did it and he absolutely killed it. But are you ready to get on to the next section?
Yeah, so now we have number 7, number 6, and number 5. So I'll read out mine first. At number 7, I have Fivio Foreign on Off the Grid. At number 6, I have Jid on Scatterbrain. Ooh. At number 5, I have Jay Electronica on Jesus Lord. Are you surprised I have it at number 5?
Listen to my ranking right now.
Okay.
You're not going to believe what I have here. Number 7, JID on Scatterbrain.
Okay.
Number 6, Lil Wayne on Too Good from the new Tech 9 album. 5, Jay Electronica on Jesus Lord, bro.
Man.
That's I told
guys,
you,
this
man.
wasn't scripted, guys. We just have a lot of similar fucking taste, I guess.
But let's go on to the GID feature, okay? Like, what was it? Was it the wordplay? Was it the flow switches? Was it the energy?
That's actually my number 6. I'll do my number 7 first.
Okay, you have Off the Grid.
So yeah, my number 7's Off the Grid. I do want to start off with that. And to me, that moment when first hearing Fivio at that second listening party was breathtaking. And I was in disbelief. That, number 1, he was on a Kanye West album. I was in disbelief for how long he was rapping for and how superb the verse was, period. And to hear him over a drill beat, I knew that was going to, I would say, enhance the performance, because it felt like he was at home. He was on production that he was comfortable with, and that really shined. Apart from that, what's cool too is that apparently after every 8 bars, Fivio was showing Kanye what he was writing. So Kanye had his hands on the writing of this performance. And again, it's a career best performance out of Fivio. It's something that Kanye's known to do, bringing in features on an album and making them do their best work ever. And I think that this is one that's going to live with people for a long time. And I'm hoping that it has a snowball effect in Fivio's career, in the sense that it might push him to reach this level of this kind of songwriting and also just performance energy. Because if he can keep going with this momentum, his future is looking pretty
Sky
fucking
is
bright.
absolute limit.
What's
So-
your number 7?
Okay, so on my number 7,
Scatterbrain,
I
right?
have Scatterbrain.
Okay.
So we'll do our 7 and 6 together because we have them together. So as I was mentioning, I think that it's the way that Jid comes in here and absolutely destroys this verse. I think that it's absolutely crazy the way that he's able to lock into a flow and then seamlessly transition into different flows while making it seem like it's still one part of the song. Like, that's what's mind-blowing about it. Plus, I listened to this triple entendre, okay? Listen to this. Morse code, if I'm talking, I'm clicking, lights flicking, tell him hold your position. So this is a line of the triple entendre where he's talking about Morse code. Not only that, but he's clicking can refer to the clicking of Jid's gun. And not only that, in addition, Morse code is a form of clicking communication. So it was just like, if you had to take maybe the best overall maybe feature, like as far as technical abilities, this is something that you have to consider in your list for me. And this dropped back in April, and already when I heard that verse on La Máquina, I knew that it was going to be a top tier verse. So tell me why you love it, then tell me why you had to include it on your list this year.
First of all, I just want to say that I think that Jid right now is one of the best feature artists in the game, period. Apart from this feature, he's also done Enemy with Imagine Dragons, great feature performance there, and he also did Frozen on James Blake's album, so that was really impressive. But with Scatterbrain, coming off of Call Me the Machine's La Máquina, he proved that he's the master of flow right now. I don't know if anybody's flowing like him on that level, and it's crazy how seamless these flow switches are. And speaking of double entendres, there's another line where he's kind of calling himself a dope magician because he makes people disappear with his Colt 45. So making people disappear in terms of killing them and also making them disappear like he's a magician. So when Jid brings this kind of wordplay, you know what you're in for. And him rapping over this super grimy beat with the haunting choir of like, it sounds like these high school students like just chanting along. It gave me these haunting vibes, and mix that in with Jid's amazing wordplay and flow switches. You cannot have this on your list. Like, this is a fucking must for me.
This is a lock, and you know it's a lock already by hearing it. If you guys have not heard it, please do so. But I'm going to move on to my number 6 because Lou's number 6 was Scatterbrain, and my number 6 position, I have Lil Wayne on Too Good from Asinine. So this was a super low-key feature. We all know that Lil Wayne has been on an absolute tear this year as far as feature goes, and I have another feature on this list a bit later on. But talking about this, for me, I think that this is one of the most vicious verses that I've gotten from Wayne in a while. I also love how he starts off his verse on such a high tempo, and then midway through the verse, when he mentions the whole computer thing, he kind of slows everything down. So that was super cool for me. I want to read something out here. I don't do computers, but I sipped high tech. I don't do computers, but my chips like that. I don't do computers, but my shooters put a bullet wound in your apple. It look bit like Max. So I mean, that's incredible wordplay there. It's crazy how he's able to lock into one rhyme scheme but use it for 4 bars in a row, and then it's kind of like, how does he get out of it, and how does he transition, and then he goes through the rest of it. So how are you a fan, even though you didn't include this on your list?
I do have it on my list, so I don't want to speak too much on it yet because I will get to it later on in the episode, but fantastic feature.
I thought you maybe would have included another one. It depends how many Wayne features you have on this list.
We'll have to see. But number 5, we actually have a shared pick, right? It's Jay Electronica on Jesus Lord. And when I first heard this, I just thought to myself immediately, like, there's no rapper that fits more on this Donda album than Jay Electronica, because he's always had these spiritual and religious themes within his music, because of course he is an avid follower of the Nation of Islam, and he does often praise Allah in his music, so it only made sense that for this religious kind of album, Jay Electronica can make it. And not only that, but I love how he commands your attention for every word that he's spitting on this fucking verse, and it sounds like he's been waiting to get these bars off of his chest, and it sounds like he's also just been on a journey or a conquest as he raps. It's J. Elek Entendre Nika coming through your monitor, back from the great beyond like the son of man or the son of Donda, which is pretty phenomenal. And what's cool too is that he's also rapping about the historical injustices that we have in the world, such as the Rwandan genocide and also the trouble that we have within humanity today. And when he compares our modern world to the last days of Sodom and Gomorrah, everybody felt that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Everyone could
going.
fucking relate to that.
Absolutely. And it was actually, this was my favorite feature on Donda until I get to another one later on this list. But, just talking about this JLX verse, every time I go back to this, there's something new to pull out of it. So today, when I was redoing my notes for this verse, listen to what I found. To the monk who visited the Rothschild like Thelanis did to Pannonica. Okay, so listen to this. Jay Electronica, back in 2000, I believe it was 12, had an affair with one of the Rothschilds members, and it was
Really?
referencing absolutely, and he's referring himself to the American jazz musician Thelonious Monk that had an affair with another Rothschild woman. And if you go through the whole verse, he takes you kind of through this whole story, and then you could actually go see it on Wikipedia. It's a super interesting story, and I just all this to say that anytime you're going to go into a J Electronica verse, there's culture in this, there's backstory, there's enriched storytelling that allows you to dive in just with these simple one lines. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's what I like about it,
Yeah.
and definitely one of my favorites of the
And
year
there's
so far.
also, you have to admire the multi-syllabic rhyming here. For example, I could change the world like Yakub with 2 pieces of steel. My sword and my microphone, I swore to the Christ's throne. So of course, you have phone and swore. Then you have mic, Christ, phone, throne. Like, if you look and observe the fucking rhyme scheme, it's really magical to see what he's able to do. And his bars pack a different punch because they're so cultured and they're so intelligent. And this is truly a great display of the finest lyricism there is out there.
Absolutely.
To be honest.
Honestly, like, this was hard to not include into my top 5, but how about we do the 4 to 2? Let's get through it, all right? So
right.
I'll start off with mine. Number 4, I have Kendrick Lamar on Family Ties. Number 3, I have Lil Wayne on Bash Money. And at number 2, I have Lauryn Hill on Nobody.
Wow. So
What do you got?
have 2 Wayne features on this. I like it.
Absolutely.
I like that.
I had to give him 2.
All right. I have at number 4, Lil Wayne on Too Good.
Okay.
And number 3, I have Lauryn Hill on Nobody. And number 2, I have Kendrick Lamar on Family Ties. So
Bro, we have
kind
a
of
list.
mismatched Lauryn Hill and Kendrick a bit.
Okay.
But
So
let's start off
where
with
do we
number
start?
4. So number 4, who do you have? You have Bash Money, right?
No, number 4, I have Family Ties. I have Kendrick
All
Lamar's
right.
Family
So,
Ties. So I'll
you
explain
want me to
it.
start Too Good or you want to go on Family Ties?
Start Too Good because I already went through mine.
Yeah, so with Too Good, first of all, you get the classic Lil Wayne lighter flick, and I think that at this point, he should be starting every feature verse or any verse at all with that lighter flick because it's just too iconic. And this might not be as good of a song as, let's say, How Wind Blows or Bash Money. I think those are better songs, but in terms of his best lyrical display of the year, to me, it's absolutely this. And what I love, too, is that Wayne is never phoning in a verse. He's never not knowing what the artist did beforehand because he pays close to attention to the song and to what the rapper rapped on his own verse. Because if you look at what Wayne raps on this song, he raps, I'm one of the coolest to rep my set. And the same way that Tech 9 earlier rapped, one of the coolest to rep my sect. So I love how aware Wayne is of the production and of the other artists that are, being featured on the song. And again, just the wordplay. I'm like 2 Trey with the flu weight, talking shit out of toothpaste, and then he ends off the whole verse with the greatest of all time, and I still got time left. So I just love how he uses so much confidence here, and the rampage of bars and metaphors, it really blew me away. So that's why I have it at number 4.
Oh, I had to include this on my list, and that was the thing, is that I was debating between Bash Money and this, and I'm like, honestly, they were so strong that I had to include them both. And let me get on to Kendrick Lamar on Family Ties for me. It's crazy to see how much one verse could cause up so much, let's say, controversy just in the music world alone. Like, when Kendrick Lamar made his return, people had the question, was he going to be able to return to form? Because he was absent for quite a while. And not only did it return to form, but he delivered one of the best verses of the year. This is aggressive. This is in-your-face Kendrick. He's coming in with new flows, new cadences, and it's crazy to see how many times he actually, switches his voice on this verse. And what's even more interesting is that these are voice switches that you've never heard from Kendrick Lamar, because go to Damn, go to To Pimp a Butterfly, go to GKMC, he's displayed these types of voice switches before, and it's something that's quite frequent within his arsenal of lyricism and deliveries. But on this, it feels like he's bringing in sort of maybe this comedic value, but this almost haunting comedic value to it. Sort of like, I'm laughing at the game right now. I'm smoking on your top 5. You can't fuck with me right now. And not only that, but I love the confidence towards the end of the verse, because he's like, you guys are all in trouble. Like, I'm coming this year and I'm going to absolutely kick your ass. Like, there's no way, you guys are going to be able to do anything. So I think as far as like, what he was doing with, the overall voice switches, the lyricism, there was even a really cool Megan Thee Stallion like bar where he's like, I'm juggling like Meg, kind of like how she juggles her names like Tina Snow and the rest of her alter egos. I think overall it was just a near perfect verse. Like, I have really no gripes with it, and I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan, man. Like, when I heard this, it got me on my seat. I saw the trailer, and it's also the introduction to the Oklahoma persona. So that was massive.
He's
for me
got to
too.
win the Grammy, man,
Absolutely.
for that performance. But I'll get to that a bit later. Now let's talk about my number 3, which is also your number 2.
Absolutely.
And that is Nobody from Lauryn Hill, and this is off of Nas's King's Disease 2. And this to me was kind of a breathtaking reminder of her precious talent, because her performances are real treasures that we have to cherish because we don't get them too often. And what's crazy is that Lauryn Hill is viewed as a queen in hip hop, but if you think about it, she hasn't rapped in about 20 years because even of the other features that she's done in recent years, she's been used as a hook. And that's kind of what I love about this performance is the fact that I was expecting a hook because the last time that she collabed with Nas was on If I Ruled the World 25 years ago and she dropped an amazing hook. But this time around, she drops one of the illest verses of the year and she's rapping. And what I love is that there's a universal message that she actually brings throughout the verse. And she pretty much goes into how she stopped making music. And there's one line that really puts it into perspective as she raps, "All my time has been focused on my freedom now." And this kind of relates to her choice to not release music under a record label, to kind of remain in control of her art and of her image. And to me, that was so powerful because it sends out this message of staying true to yourself and finding power in your own independence and having that self-belief. And to me, that spoke volumes. I think it's a message that anybody could relate to. So for Lauryn Hill to be spitting game like this at the point that she's at right now really blew me away. And listen, man, 6 flow switches after counting, while maintaining one smooth cadence. She really belongs in a small circle of artists. And this showed me that we have to treasure these fucking moments.
Absolutely. And I think that's why I have it at my number 2. But going on to my number 3, just before I get into this, is Lil Wayne on Bash Money off of Hitler Wears Hermes 8. This was stupid, bro. Like, this is something that sounds like straight off the Carter 3, bro. I swear to God, like, the way Wayne, like, takes so much time and precision with the way he pronounces everything all the way through, the way that he's so adequate and so classy with his delivery, and, you know, the fact that he doesn't have to rush anything anymore. Like, it feels like Wayne is on a good vibe again as far as rapping goes, because a couple of years ago, I was really questioning his features as far as, like, maybe the whiny deliveries and, you know, the other stuff that he was doing some trap features, but to see him get back into this bag again where he's going absolutely ridiculous on verses and he's delivering some of the best of the year is really a sight to see for me. I had to include it in my top 3. I think that it was one that really stunned me. I mean, I remember listening to it the first time in the stew here and I was like, bro, this is ridiculous. Like, this is one of the best verses of the year. And I mean, Bash Money as a whole is just a great song, but I'm going to read a line here. I got some lines for you guys. Split in half for me on codeine. I'm crash dummy. Big dog gets swallowed down like my last puppy. I can make your Kim, Courtney, Chloe do the dash for me. Young money, cash money, a blast for me. Throw some money on the dancer. Make some money, dance for me. Come on, bro. Like, how? Like, where are you gonna find this lyricism, bro? Where are you gonna find this?
You know what I love was the fact when he was kind of rapping about how they took his Nina away from him and he felt like he just lost a daughter.
Child, bro.
I was like, whoa, like Wayne, chill, bro. Like, he had a fucking battery on his back all year, bro.
It's
like,
crazy.
He just ripped through everything.
And this is my decision with this list. It's like, how aren't I gonna give him 2 positions on this list as far as hip hop features go? He absolutely smoked everyone this year, and he's a veteran, man. This guy's been doing this for such a long time, and it just shows the type of passion that Lil Wayne has in his pen. But I'm gonna go on to my number 2 before you get on to yours. Lauryn Hill on Nobody. This was really a surprise verse for me because, as you said, I thought that this was gonna be a hook or maybe even some background vocals. I didn't think we were gonna get a full verse on this, and this encompasses everything that Lauryn Hill stands for: prosperity, unity, being independent, and, you know, finding your own lane within things. And it's also cool to see that, you know, she didn't shy away from talking about why she stopped rapping. You know, she was talking about how there was too many people trying to fuck with her and trying to fuck with her money, and was also talking about how they tried to keep her caged. And I have to feel her. Like, I feel her on that level because, you know, she's rapping now like she was doing on maybe The Score or maybe in The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Like, she has not lost a touch. Definitely a top tier, you know, verse of the year. And I was debating putting this at number 1. I didn't know where to put this, but do you think it's the best verse on King's Disease 2?
Oh, don't do that to me.
Do you think it's the best verse on King's Disease 2?
I really love what Nas did on Store Run. So I don't know if I could give it that title, but you could make the argument for it because she's just dishing out these lyrical gems over that fucking nice trumpet. Like,
absolutely,
it blew my mind.
I want to read something out too, by the way, just for my features, man.
Is it the Matrix line?
No, it's not this. It was just more like the emphasis on, like, the imagery that she's showing regarding, like, her freedom. All my time has been focused on my freedom now. Why would I join him when I know that I can beat him now? They put their words on me and they can't eat him now. That's probably why they keep on telling me I'm needed now. So I mean, like, where are you going to get lyricism like that or introspection like that again? And this is only a feature. This is not even from a solo project. So I had to put it on my number 2, but I'll leave you the floor for Family Ties, man. Why is it at the number 2
I
position?
got a lot to say for this one. First of all, I just want to say that this is the performance that moved me the most all year, in the sense that it really got me fired up. And that's what I love, to get from these rap performances. And I always feel like Kendrick always has to be the one to light the fuse in the rap game. It always has to be him. And he really jumped in this bitch like he said he would on the song. And he just always creates this excitement and this aura of competition with lines like Kanye changed his life, but me, I'm still an old school Gemini, or smoking on your top 5 tonight, or motherfuck that album, fuck that single, burn that hard drive. The game needs me to survive. He literally compares himself and describes himself as hip hop's vaccine, because the game needs him to survive. Like, it's mind-blowing lines. And like you said earlier, the fucking voice switches. If you do the math, he has 5 different voices that he brings into this song, and one is more impressive than the other. And what I love is that he's displaying so much hunger, but this was a feature. Like, this is him warming up. This is him getting back on the saddle. What about when he's for real? What about when he's actually dropping his own fucking material? Like, this gets me so hyped for the album, because I know that he's on his no bullshit time. He's gonna come at the people that he doesn't fuck with, and the things that he doesn't fuck with. If that's societal constructs or whatever it is, he's gonna go at whoever's in his way. And like I said, it's really the verse that moved me the most all year.
Oh man, this was awesome. I had to include it in my top 5. I was like, man, where should I put this? This was between Family Ties and JLX's verse on Jesus is Lord was interchangeable. But listen, guys, I think we all know what we have at our number 1 position. I mean, Lou and I have talked about this song on multiple occasions, and if it didn't get released on streaming, you guys would probably not see it on here. But Lou, listen, I'm going to announce my number 1. It's probably the same. I have André 3K on Life of the Party from Donda. Announce your number 1,
My
brother.
number 1 is André 3000 on Life of the Party from the Donda Deluxe. Thank God it was released, bro. That's all I want to say. Like, thank God that it actually came out, because I was worried for a minute. But I want to start this off because this might be longer than the other ones that we took time on. But now that you've heard it multiple times, when you listen to this song, like, what does the experience do for you? Like, what's your headspace like? Like, how does this make you feel?
Okay, I broke it down. I was thinking about this today, and it almost feels like Andre 3K is rapping in 4D. That's kind of the way that I feel about it. It's like there's so many different moving parts that are going on within the verse that it almost has you mindfucked throughout it, because it seems so simple on surface level. So throughout this, you have Andre 3K, questioning his spirituality. You have him contacting Donda to be able to speak to his parents directly. You have him, showing this imagery and kind of these flashbacks of his progression through his own insecurities, him going through all of those insecurities, and then him also talking about how he's in a different place right now, and also talking about his struggle with marijuana and how he quit for 20 years and then ended up going back to it. And I just love everything from the way he was talking about his mom lighting up a cigarette when he was nervous and when she had advice for him. I love the way that he was using different flows and switches between it. The time where he was talking about having a pretty intimate relationship with his tutor, where then he slows down and like he's out of breath with it. Like, everything that goes into this verse was immaculate. And when you're talking about Andre 3K, it's like he's a top 5 rapper of all time. You're not going to get anything short from perfect from him. So I think that's why I have it on here. Not only that, but he perfectly encompasses what the story of Donda is. Like, it was a perfectly calculated feature. This deserved to be on the track list. And to be honest with you, if this was on the regular track listing, it would have made a lot more sense than a lot of songs. So I'm going to take it back to you. Why do you think this is number 1? And what does this verse mean for you, not only on a music level, but on a personal level? Because this shit's very deep when you listen to it.
Yeah, this is just soul food for me. I mean, the way that Andre is able to articulate himself with so much emotion here, it kind of makes me feel like one of 2 things in terms of an experience. First one is kind of me picturing Andre and Kanye kind of walking through a cemetery and grieving together as friends throughout the verse. And what's special is that they have a genuine connection, because both Andre and Kanye lost their mothers at an early age. So the connection for this music, like, as people, as fans, we could relate to the message, but when the artists are connecting and relating for the creative process, that makes it all the more impactful in my opinion. And apart from that, I mean, when I'm listening to it myself, I feel like I'm having a deep conversation with a close friend of mine on my fucking front porch at like 2 a.m. because of how much he's divulging here. Like, I did not expect André to get so personal. And to me, this has to be, I would say, the most human display of performance art that I've gotten all year because of the lyricism that he goes into. For example, him pondering about the great beyond. Like, that's something that we've all thought about at some point. That's such a human thought to have, I would say. Apart from that, I mean, think about the heavy breathing that you were mentioning before, the way that he was huffing and puffing to really make us visualize what he was going through during that moment. Apart from that, I mean, the way that he's getting so descriptive about how he sees a baby strolling in a carriage and how he's thinking, oh, that might be a sign from my mother from the great beyond of her reaching out to me and telling me that she's okay and that she's found solace in the spiritual realm, because that's what he's wondering. He's wondering if there is a great beyond. And at the end, it's so crazy because he's like, every day I think to myself, like, why has God left me on this earth? Like, why am I still here? And he's longing to be connected with his mother again, the same way that Kanye was for the entirety of Donda. So to me, there's so much life in this verse, and I think that we're gonna look back on this a decade from now, and it'll still hold up.
I think, is it safe to say that this is verse of the year? Do you think
it's verse of the year for me? And
yeah,
don't be surprised if it makes other lists, like our top 10 songs of the year list. You know what I mean? Like, this is truly a special moment, and it's just so poetic from André.
It's beautiful, and it low-key almost trips you out because what he's talking about is so real, and it's so relatable to the point where you feel as if André's thoughts are your thoughts. And that's another thing that I feel with this is he allows me to enter his mood, and he allows me to enter his universe. He allows me to see what he's feeling, and that's something that not a lot of rappers could do like André. And the way that he's able to just take you through this whole emotion and kind of give you this backstory of why he's in this negative and dark place is beautiful, because a lot of rappers will glorify stuff, though a lot of rappers are dishonest with their bars, but André 3K just comes out of retirement sometimes and drops verses of the year like it's nothing. Like, that's what's crazy about it, is that when was the last time you got this type of André 3K? I haven't seen it in maybe a decade. Like, I really can't think about it. So overall, it's definitely verse of the year. I think what it does more than all of the other verses on this is the personal touch from it. His rapping ability is obviously on, it's probably the best out of this whole list because
that
it's
Outkast flow at the end.
Oh, it's absolutely disgusting. And not only that, but his ability to, take so many moving parts and so many moving thoughts and coherently put it into one verse was truly a legendary moment in 2021, and this should have probably made our top 10 moments of the year so far.
Honestly, yeah,
it probably should have made that. It was that big of a moment for us, guys. But let us know your list in the comments section. I mean, it's always fun doing end of the year content for you guys, and we're going to be doing end of the year lists every Wednesday from now on. So last week we did 10 of the biggest moments in rap. This week we obviously did the features, and ongoing forward we're going to do other lists. Plus, our award show is on August 29th. It's a Wednesday.
December 29th,
my bad. It's going to be absolutely fucking awesome. There's going to be so many different categories. You guys are going to be able to come kick it in a live stream with us. Plus, we're doing a bunch of other content towards the end of the year. So hopefully you like this list. Thank you for watching throughout this whole video, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for watching the video. It's always a pleasure doing content for you guys. Listen, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel because we're doing album reviews, and we actually have our series called Everything We Know, where we take you guys through the whole album rollout of the hottest releases of the year. Not only that, guys, but our Patreon plan is now live. You guys can access that in the bio. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.